Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, August 5th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses charts as a trader, or maybe you're just interested in learning more of how to use charts, the power of them to make good decisions as a trader, then this will be a video for you. And very quickly on that note, keep in the back of your mind that I am offering a free live class actually this evening, depending on when you watch this. So if you're liking what you hear and you want to learn more about charts, how they should be used, how they should not be used, but how they work just generally, and great as a tool to build consistency, then I want to just personally invite you to get signed up for the class. If you're watching on YouTube, just down in the description box, or if you're watching at my site, claytrader.com, then around the screen somewhere, there's a place that you can click on to get signed up for it. And I should also note, I do realize if this is too last second for you, then still get signed up because the presentation will be recorded and then I'll send it out afterwards. So even if you're watching this, like I said, and it's too late and the class has already happened, like I said, still get signed up or just email me and say, hey, Clay, I'd like to watch the recording of it, Clay at claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to do so. First one here, ticker symbol HOOD, Robinhood, and what a monster day. Almost had the feel of a meme stock with the way that it exploded during that opening 30 minutes. So I should note that I am doing the 30-minute time frame for all these, meaning each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 30 minutes of time. So opening 30 minutes went crazy, pulled back, and is now setting up for a very, very interesting move into Thursday with the main level here that, let's try that again, with a level that by no means is this a great discovery on my part. I'm not trying to say that at all, but a lot of people are definitely going to be watching that area right up there around 73.50 as a potential breakout point, because if the price can break up through there, the next level of resistance, not until up there at basically the $85 mark, which creates what would be known as, or what at least I would call a little miniature blue sky breakout. Now, that doesn't mean that if the price breaks through that level, it's shooting straight up to 85. My point is just from a technical point of view and looking at the history, there just simply aren't any other data points that suggest areas of resistance. So all sorts of people are going to be watching that area. So call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. When a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, it can produce some very dynamic movements. As far as areas of support are concerned, key level now that I'm curious about in the nearer term going to be right there around the $65 mark. And then after 65 as a potential bounce point on any sort of pullback down there right around the $58 mark. But yeah, definitely setting up for a very, very interesting Thursday. Next one here, ticker symbol AMC, and a very, very rough day on this one. The cruel part was it started off acting like it wanted to be strong. It gapped up, it made a move to that upside to think that some poor souls bought right there, and then from that point, it was just basically straight down the rest of the day. And the very interesting dynamic here is that, to be fair, basically spent late afternoon just going sideways, but then the last 30 minutes happened, and within the last 30 minutes, there was this actual little trend line here that had formed, which was looking good, but now that trend line has been violated. So actually, let me just get rid of these lines here up there. They've served their purpose for now. But the key dynamic here and the main question, and again, this is not some sort of great discovery. I assure you a lot of people noticed that trend line was broken. So moving forward, the question becomes, all right, well, is this even a bigger start of more bloodshed to come? Now, it could be a false breakdown. One candle breaking through a level doesn't guarantee anything. There are no guarantees. But as far as making it a logical question, it's absolutely a logical question to be throwing out there, to be wondering now, with that break, is this, like I said, the start of a much more momentum move to the downside, which brings about, okay, well, Clay, where were some of these next potential areas of support at? And I realize the chart's getting hard to see here, but it's just been that long since the price has been down around this area of the chart. And the next key area of support at this point in my mind would be right there around $28.50. So if this is the start of something bigger than the downside, I don't think anybody would be shocked to see it necessarily go down and hit that $28.50 mark. But then at that point, it's a question of, okay, is the price going to bounce at that area, or is the price going to, just continue to bleed to the downside? Only time will tell. But yeah, very rough day. And then the last 30 minutes certainly didn't help anything out. Next one here, ticker symbol AMD, and just a complete case of deja vu. It feels like, I think this is now maybe the fifth day in a row, or fifth at least I should say, top 10 list in a row I've done, and I just keep saying the same things: higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Truly an absolute monster move right now, and not a whole lot to be said other than, okay, well, let's just update some of the new areas of support. So for people that, like to try to play pullbacks, like to play trends from the pullback perspective, areas that would make sense to watch. So in the very near term, that level of support now that has become quite apparent right there at the 117 mark. If you feel as though maybe that's too aggressive from a pullback perspective, another area that you could potentially consider would be right down there around the 114 mark. So again, support-wise, 117 and 114. And then as far as areas of resistance are concerned, if you're somebody that's just, no, I like to play breakouts within uptrends, with a level here that I think a lot of people will be watching is right there around the 121 mark, which generally speaking did present some problems here on a few different occasions. But moral of the story here, the uptrend continues. It's definitely, all in the bull's favor right now. And if you're a trend trader and you like to play uptrends, well, then AMD is certainly one that I'd say should be on your watch list. Next one here, ticker symbol BYSI. Truly a crazy, crazy move today, especially when you factor in pre-market. Pre-market, I think it had gotten up into like the $40 and then did pull back. But overall, you can see just monster volume came in, had some very interesting news out there. And now all of a sudden, a super interesting setup and pattern here as we head into Thursday, with the key dynamic here being right up there at that $29 mark. So that's more so, in technical jargon, the breakout point. But what makes this so interesting is check out how things got a little wild, got a little rough that opening 30 minutes. Price chopped all the way down there. But look what happened the rest of the day. There is a set of lows. There is a set of lows. There is a set of lows. So, not to insult your visual intelligence, but if you were to envision those as stair steps, well, you have stair steps that started to form the upwards direction the remainder of the day. Now, let me be very clear, and I've said this, and I'll probably say it a million more times this video. Does this 100% for sure guarantee that a breakout is coming? No, there are no breakouts. Does it make it at least a rational, at least a non-random thought to have of, hey, I think a breakout could be setting up? Absolutely, and that's what technical analysis is all about. Technical charts are there to help you make not random decisions. They're there to help you make rational decisions. So that doesn't mean anything's guaranteed, but with stair steps moving upwards, a well-defined area of resistance, it certainly makes it a more than valid thought to be thinking and to be watching. You know what? Maybe this thing is getting ready for another breakout to the upside. So let's see what happens on Thursday. Next one here, ticker symbol MRNA, just another monster. And right now looking a little shaky. And the reason I'm saying it's looking a little shaky is, yeah, it's in an overall uptrend, but this, section of the chart right here created quite a bit of downward selling pressure. Now, granted, the last 30 minutes of the price did recover nicely, but, in my mind, is this a real recovery, or is something like this going to happen where the price kind of consolidates out and then comes back down? That all remains to be seen, over the next couple of days. But the level of support that I think a lot of people are going to be watching, longs and shorts and everybody in between, right there at 408.50. You can see there's quite a bit of a track record right around that area. So if the price were to come down there and break down through it, let me be very clear. I'm not saying a break of that is causing this thing to reverse and go down to $300. All I'm saying is from a trading perspective, I could see shorts be interested in potentially trading some sort of scalp because there is a bit of wiggle room there to the downside if it can break through that area. But to be fair, maybe this thing just continues and turns itself back around. And that situation, the main area of resistance can be right up there around the $430 mark. But definitely going into the next couple of days, I think I'm more bearish on this one, looking for a pullback here. And remember, there's a big difference between a pullback and a crash or a pullback and a reversal. So not saying for a reversal or a crash, but I could see this thing wanting to pull back a bit more, but we'll see what happens. Next one here is our good friend NSAV down in the world of penny stocks, and we've been tracking this one very closely, but it continues to stay nice and liquid with a good, respectable amounts of volume. And then after today, on top of the volume remaining strong, a very interesting setup. Now, I talked about this red line in the previous video here at 11 cents being the area of resistance, but I was a little off. You can see that on a couple of occasions, the price did creep up above that area. But now that we have more data, I'm just going to go ahead and adjust this level up to 0.114. So to be more accurate, 0.114 truly does seem to be that main area of resistance because, like I said, now that we have more data, you can see it was rejected there this morning and then rejected there once again. But you got to like the setup, just like I think it was, BYSI, maybe one of them. But one of them, we had a well-defined area, and then we also had a nice upwards move, or, and that one I talked about stair steps. So once again, does this mean everything's guaranteed to break out? No guarantees. Is it valid? Is it rational to think that a breakout could be coming and to be watching for one? Yeah, absolutely it is. So all eyes on 0.114 here moving into Thursday, and we'll see if the price can get the break or not. Next one here, ticker symbol ATHE. And I like this setup quite a bit because it's a very interesting one. It's a situation where it was looking like it was game over. The price started off very strong, had a nasty pullback, and then did start to level out here, which at that point brought about the question, okay, maybe this pullback, maybe this is over. And then the last 30 minutes happened. Now, would this have been a lot better had the price closed, up higher around the, $1.60 mark? Yeah, that candle wouldn't look so rough. But the key dynamic here is at least it did start to show some movement. Now, to be fair, maybe this was just a little head fake. Maybe I'm totally getting suckered into putting this on the top 10 and nothing's going to happen. Wouldn't be the first time. But again, in real life trading, without hindsight, you just never know. And on that case, you never know, because on the flip side of maybe nothing is going to happen is, well, maybe something does happen. Maybe this is the start of something bigger. So in my mind, a very interesting level of resistance to watch now headed into Thursday, going to be right there at $1.62. Again, maybe that was just a temporary 30-minute, pop to the upside, and now it's just going to fade away and then eventually, crash to the downside. And, in my mind, the muscled area of support is got to be staying up above that area right there at $1.45, because if it breaks above $1.45, well, nothing, gaps don't have to close. At that point, you don't really have anything. The price would enter kind of this no man's land of the chart, which is never a good spot to be in from a trade plan perspective. But as of now, interesting dynamic, and we'll see if this final 30 minutes does indeed mean anything or not. Next one here, ticker symbol BTBT, and BTBT continues to treat us very, very nicely. Now, this will mean a little bit more to those of you that have watched the past top 10 videos. Last time I talked about it, drew in that resistance line right there. And again, the practical power of technical analysis. You can see the price got up there, broke that trend line, and then just a classic technical breakout. So moral of the story there, a great breakout, but also moral of the story is things came back to life again. So it's at least worth getting some of these areas updated. And really, there's two main levels that now stand out. For the pullback players, the area to watch closely would be down here around $11.50. You can see the price spent quite a bit of time right around that area. So if the price does pull back, again, is that a guaranteed area to bounce from? No, but I mean, given the price has bounced from that area before, you wouldn't be irrational to think that it could bounce from there again. So keep an eye on $11.50 from the pullback point of view. And then as far as areas of resistance are concerned, very straightforward. All eyes going to be right up there at $13.50. You can see it was rejected from there on several occasions. So that'll be a key dynamic to watch. But all in all, and if you like patterns, so you have that. And then if I draw that part down like that, what would be known as a bull flag pattern. But yeah, definitely a great setup. Very interesting pattern here moving into Thursday. Next one here, ticker symbol ONE. And this is, again, pretty similar to the whole idea of ATHE, meaning made a big move up, has pulled back, and is now starting to show some signs of life. But I mean, is this any sort of true sign of life, or is this just almost a little, kind of last breath before it, just goes right back to where it was? And that could be a potential, which is why, as always, risk management is so important. But again, on the flip side of all that is, well, maybe this is actually going to, setting up for another leg to the upside. But we have a couple of well-defined areas to help us kind of answer those questions. So if there is going to be, a true sign of power, that would be, can the price get back up above $1? Now, even if it breaks $1, doesn't mean that for sure. Without doubt, it's headed up to $1.30. But my point here is there is definitely some wiggle room here on the chart, where the price could, start to regain some momentum and get very interesting. So you'll want to keep an eye on that as a confirmation area. But then the level that I would definitely consider a very important level and must-hold level of support would be that pink line right there, which on my chart denotes the very famous 200 period moving average. You can see that essentially 3 times now the price has bounced off that level, and it's currently at the 74-cent mark. So that would be a very important level of support to watch moving forward. But again, it all goes to just the overall idea of, all right, well, maybe the party's over, but what happens if it's not over? What happens if there's another party to come? So it's at least worth keeping an eye on. Next one here, ticker symbol WORX, and really like this one because it showed that it can move and move nicely. Volume came in, but it's also a solid one because at least this pullback has happened. And the pullbacks, like this are always nice because if you're somebody that's like, well, I don't know, am I suffering from FOMO here, fear of missing out? Am I chasing the price? That all those are alleviated. By no means could anyone accuse you of chasing the price, given that, the price is now sitting where it was. Now, there were some poor souls that bought up there, and they're not probably having very good days right now. But like I said, assuming that you're not in and you're just observing, then yeah, you do have the pullback here. But also on the flip side, maybe this isn't a pullback. Maybe this is the start of a much bigger crash. That's always possible too. But again, that's why risk management matters. But the idea here is that, well, at least you know that you're not chasing. And an interesting area now from a pullback perspective, going to be right down there around $2.55, as that was a previous area of resistance. And if the price were to come down there and, even behave and bounce around like that, at that point, you'd have a very nice pattern that would start to take shape. You'd have and I'm just generally speaking, you'd have a downtrend there. You'd have that level right there. And if I were to draw that, and then for you golfers out there, up with the golf hole, you'd have what would be known as a bull pennant pattern. So moral of the story there, as long as the price stays above 255, that does give the chart an overall good, solid, attempt and good, solid chance at, building a nice little bullish pattern. And then if there is any sort of attempted movements back to the upside, main area of resistance going to be right there around that $3 mark. But yeah, overall, nice move, nice pullback. Let's see if this can develop into a bigger bullish pattern. And that wraps up the top 10 here. And again, just want to personally invite you, if you did like what you saw and what you heard and you're interested in learning more about the tool of technical charts to build consistency as a trader, then again, I am offering the class this evening, Wednesday, August 4th, 7 p.m. Eastern time, always the important part. But again, if it's too last minute, I understand you have life, then still get signed up and I'll send you the recording. Or if you're watching this and the time is already passed, but you still do want to watch the recording, just send me an email, clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to email you back the recording to this. But if you're, like I said, if you're watching this pretty soon after I publish this video and there's still time, then like I said, I want to personally invite you to get signed up. And then as far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you do enjoy this format and would like for me to continue to make these and put in the time and effort to do so, then please communicate that to me, and you can do so very easily. Just hit the like button, leave a basic comment, even if it's just hi, a smiley face. But hitting the like button, leaving a basic comment goes a long way in, again, communicating to me that making these videos is worth the time and effort. As long as I know that people are enjoying them, then I have no problem at all continuing to put them together. So get signed up for the class, and hopefully everybody had a good one.